So one question that I get asked quite a bit on social media is, how do I get a gig? How do I get discovered as a guitar player or a musician or an artist? And that's a pretty loaded question with a lot of different possible answers. But I think one of the most important answers to that is having a strong social media presence, specifically having a good Instagram page. Now, we all know that we live in the social media age. Everyone's connected, everyone's online, and there's good things about that and not so good things about that. But as musicians, as creatives, as artists, we can use this to our advantage. We can use social media and Instagram specifically to get our name out there, to get our work out there. Now, Instagram specifically is unique in this because of the way it's laid out, because it's, I think, the perfect blend of video and audio and image and Instagram stories, allowing you to share what's going on in your day-to-day life in real time with people. It really is the modern day business card for musicians, to quote Tim Pierce. So because of that, I think it's really important for musicians and artists and creative people of all stripes nowadays to have a firm grasp on how Instagram works, how to grow on Instagram, and how to make the most of your Instagram profile to help you land that next gig, whatever that gig may be. Now, while I would love to be able to tell you exactly step by step how to build your Instagram following to tens of thousands of people, the reality is I've done a terrible job of maintaining my Instagram. If you follow me, you probably noticed that my feed is just sort of a random stream of consciousness. It's a video of me playing and then a picture of a new pedal, or me and my wife Tilly hanging out somewhere. It just doesn't work. So instead, I thought I would reach out to my friend Kurt Henderson. Kurt is a local Nashville guitar player with over 60,000 Instagram followers, and he's a dude who's out there gigging, touring on the road, and using his Instagram following to help move his career along. So we're gonna head over to Kurt's house and see what he has to say about building an Instagram following. Okay, so Kurt Henderson.
Hey,
everyone. I've come over to the Instagram layer. If you follow him, you probably recognize this wall. So I wanted to get Kurt on because Kurt has an incredible Instagram page. He's a badass guitar player, and he's actually using it to get gigs. He's a working guy. He's a touring guy here in Nashville. How long have you been here?
About a year.
He stays busy. And what, in large part due to your Instagram page?
I would say, yeah.
Okay. We were just talking, and I mentioned what Tim Pierce had said about Instagram being your business card nowadays, and you immediately resonate with that, right?
Yeah, I've actually put it the exact same way. That's exactly what it is these days.
Yeah.
And actually, to your former point, a lot of the work I get is through my Instagram, and I moved down here from Canada, which obviously Canada's quite removed from this market, being in Nashville. So without that sort of Instagram profile and that business card that I can hand out at any given gig, I don't think I'd have anywhere near the infrastructure that I have, and certainly not as readily as I had it. I basically walked into work when I moved down here.
So when did you start on Instagram?
Like 3.5 years ago, I think.
Okay.
Something like that.
And you were just saying a second ago it's changed.
Yeah, it's quite different. It's so saturated now, right? And so back in the day, pre-algorithm changes, there was a certain code of how you should approach Instagram if you wanted to see growth regularly.
Right.
And that included how to hashtag appropriately, things of that nature. Now, it seems a little bit more shifty to me, a little bit more mercurial. I'm not sure how the algorithm works.
Right.
Not exactly anymore. The hashtagging thing, I don't even know if it applies at this point.
Yeah.
So things seem to be a little bit different now, especially with the saturation. Everyone's on that platform and trying to do the thing now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember a couple of years ago, the thing was to put 40 hashtags at the bottom of your post to try and get it spread to as many different places. And I've noticed even on your stuff now, you'll have your tagline, right? Your caption, and then a space, and then maybe 2 or 3 hashtags.
Yeah, 5 tops.
Right.
Someone told me that 5 is where it caps out now. Okay. I don't know if that's true though.
Okay, now how do you get the attention of brands?
So in the beginning, going back a couple of years, it seemed like you could just tag them and they would take note.
Yeah.
Now I actually, if I want to build a relationship with them, I'll send a direct message. Again, that's on Instagram though. Like I don't find their email.
Yeah.
I want to communicate through Instagram because as you said, it's your business card.
Yeah.
And so what happens is I'll send them a DM saying, you know, hey, I'd like to, you know, create some sort of partnership or some sort of, you know, brand relationship. And then presumably the first thing they do when they receive that email or that message is they go to my Instagram page.
Right.
And then immediately they can see what I'm up to, what I'm doing, what sort of engagement I have, however many followers I have.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the selling point right there. I don't have to say anything more.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
So one thing that Kurt does really well if you follow him on Instagram is as soon as you look at his page, everything is consistent. From my perspective, you have 2 or 3 types of videos that you do, right? You have the vocalists come over, where you play, like our friend Stephanie, you've done one with her.
That's right.
Or it's just like a solo thing, you playing by yourself, but there's a consistent look and a consistent feel with everything that you do. Is that intentional?
Absolutely. So going back to, you know, a couple of years ago when there was sort of a set way to do this thing, that was one of the points that I was given pretty early on, was to have sort of a brand look, have something that's recognizable immediately as a thumbnail, ideally speaking. So, I mean, I've switched around a little bit because now I'm shooting in front of this wall because I think that this is now a decent way of, you know, branding myself. But certainly you want to have like a visual image that is consistent video to video. For a long time it was down in that corner, you know, with that daylight. At my old place, I was just shooting, it was a much smaller place, so I was just shooting in front of a wall. And I was like, this is pretty lame. So I put like a really colorful dolly painting behind me.
Yeah.
And that became the brand again. So you need to have some sort of consistency in terms of your visual appeal, because ideally speaking, as people move through their feed or see you in a thumbnail, they're going to recognize you immediately without having to read Kurt Henderson or whatever.
Right. So, okay, now gear-wise, how are you recording? How are you actually making the video? Or is that like a secret you don't want to share?
No, dude.
Okay.
I'll quite have to share everything. Yeah, so basically, going back to like things that you need to do in order to even be competitive on a saturated market like Instagram, the best thing you can do is make sure that your video quality and your audio quality is top notch. Because if it isn't, even if you're playing people will just move past you and find someone else who does all the same things but with better quality video and audio. So in terms of audio, I mic my amp. I'll use a deluxe reverb, I'll use that Supra there, and I'll put an SM57 on it, run it into Logic, and record it that way. I don't do any like EQing or anything after the fact, but it's nice to have some control over it and make sure you're getting a good quality natural sound.
Right.
I think I've DI'd 2 videos, and neither one of them did particularly well, and I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the audio portion of things. In terms of the video, I'm still kind of lowbrow. I use my iPhone 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've wanted to get a camera, haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
It's probably in the making though at some point here.
Well, when you have questions, I can answer them probably.
I'm sure you
I know
do.
more about cameras than I ever wanted to know.
You're definitely my point of contact, Rhett.
Okay, so that's an interesting point though. Like you don't need to necessarily drop $3,000 into a camera setup to start making great Instagram videos, right?
Right, yeah, you don't need to. In fact, I would encourage people, like if you have any sort of will or intention to create content for Instagram, rather than like, you know, undermine yourself or delay because you don't think you have the equipment, just start doing it. Like you just need to start making content. Even if that means solely on your phone with no miking of your amp or whatever. Just start the ball rolling, try to get a sense of what you're going to do and what kind of content you're going to create, what your brand's going to be. And then as you can, you want to start to facilitate, you know, nicer gear and better sounding and looking videos.
Now, how often should people be posting, do you think?
Okay, so in an ideal world, I would say 5 to 7 times a week, so almost every day. If you want to do more or less what I do, which is if you're like a gig musician and you want to be working with people, videos are better than photos. Photos are nice because you can share like what you're doing with your life, lets people into your daily habits or what have you. Stories are good for the same thing. Mm-hmm. But that's not really the thing that sells you, I don't feel. I think it's the video content that does. So 5 to 7 videos a week, the majority of those should be videos. I mean, I think we covered the big thing. I think the big point, like I say, is being able to sell yourself in this day and age. It's all about visibility, really, because so many people can play so well these days. Mm-hmm. But so many people are also relegated to just playing in their bedrooms, it seems. Like phenomenal players who just don't seem to get the gigs. A lot of that's just visibility or lack of it. You know, they're not going out, they're not networking, and they're not able to put themselves forward and sell themselves. Instagram did that for me. I literally had no gigs really in Vancouver. I was just hanging out in my bedroom making videos.
Right.
And suddenly work started pouring in off that alone.
Yeah.
So really, I think the biggest selling point is just being able to put yourself out there and have that visibility from your bedroom, you know, to not leverage that in this day and age, I think is a serious mistake.
Yeah. I mean, that really is kind of the future of musicianship, I think. You know, I'm doing my version of that here on YouTube. Kurt's handling it over on Instagram, but it's kind of two different avenues to get to the same place, which is sharing your artistry, sharing your musicianship, and connecting with people all over the world while also building your personal brand.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
That's where we're at. So that was insanely informative. Huge thanks to Kurt Henderson for agreeing to take part in this video. I will have links to all of his social media accounts in the description box below this video. If you don't know Kurt, you should absolutely check him out. He's an insane guitar player. He's a working guy, and I think he's starting out on YouTube pretty soon, so keep an eye out for him here. If you'd like to support the channel, check out the links in the description box down below. I've got brand new merch for the Backstage Journal vlog and podcast. You can get a t-shirt, you can get a mug. That really helps me in making out these videos. So if you want to rep the Backstage Journal stuff in the wild, check those links out down below as well. If you want to see where I'm playing live in the next few weeks and months, you can check out my website, rhettshull.com. You can also get in contact with me over there. Anyways, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. I'm Rhett Shull, and remember, there is no plan B.
Remember, there is no plan B.